Our next session is all about understanding yourself and building a team that complements your unique strengths. Jennifer Tokatyan will guide you to discover your zone of genius, helping you clarify your skill set and operate from your strongest place so you can lead smarter, not harder. Jennifer is a leadership consultant and coach with over 25 years of experience working with Fortune 500 companies and founder-led businesses. She specializes in talent optimization and organizational development and is deeply connected to the interior design community, regularly sharing her expertise on Luann's platforms. And you just jumped out of Luann's session, so what a great simpatico moment. So if I can happily welcome Jennifer to the webinar stage. She is here to lead this session. Hello, welcome.
Hello, it's so nice to be here. Hello, everyone.
I should get one of those electric mug warmers. I'd forget to put my cup on there. Sorry, that was from the before talking about I have to go warm up my coffee.
Oh, that's right. So are we ready to get going?
We are ready. Yes, I'm going to make sure your screen share works if you're doing that and getting everything
Okay, let
going.
me do
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
All right, we're all good. You can see my screen.
We can see your screen. So I'll be in the backstage. I'll jump in if there's any questions for Jennifer. I'll probably jump in and kind of interrupt her spiel a little bit and get that going. Otherwise, we'll wait till the end if they're a bit more relevant in that way. So you might see me pop back in. We'll see you
Excellent. Thank you so
later.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I am so excited. And I got to say, following Luann is absolutely a tough act to follow. And the energy for our session is going to be a little bit of a shift, right? Because this is a time to kind of get really close into your own being and heart. I mean, this is some self-discovery work. So I actually want you to take a moment and just take 3 deep breaths and get really centered with where we're going now. This is going to be all about you. Okay. So a little bit of a shift. So just take a deep breath. Do 3, 2, and 3. Okay. I'm very passionate about this topic and I'm excited to explore this with you today. So in this session, you're going to walk away with actionable steps to elevate your leadership effectiveness, enhance your business performance, and deepen your personal fulfillment. We'll start by helping you gain greater clarity about your unique strengths and the roles or responsibilities where you most likely thrive. And obviously, we're going to call that your zone of genius. From there, you'll learn a practical framework to help you design a team that complements your strengths. So you're not trying to do everything yourself, but instead building the kind of support system that enables you and your business to grow sustainably and successfully. So when I was thinking about this morning, especially last night, I was feeling this profound sense of awe and appreciation about how deep this work really is, how much soul searching it can take and courage to claim your genius. So it sounds simple on the surface, and in our 45 to 60 minutes together, we're going to be surfing the quiet waters. And yet I hope to awaken each of you to stir the waves in your soul to uncover your magic, to take with you to build businesses that align with your authentic gifts and support teams that complement them beautifully. So this is a path to flourish in both life and work. We will have a couple moments for you to pause, reflect, and capture thoughts. So you might want to have a pen and notebook handy. So to kick us off, I have 5 truths that I deeply believe. Truths about who we are, what drives us, and what it really takes to build a business or a career that supports not just our goals, but our well-being and our creativity and our joy. First, you were born and designed with unique gifts for a reason. You bring something to the table that no one else can, and that contribution has real value. Second, you have the power. You can make the decision to design a business and a life that fits who you are. Aligning your work with your purpose, passions, and strengths unlocks a meaningful life, joy, and fulfillment. You are not here to do it all, and you don't have to. It's not about how much you can carry. It's about being clear and intentional about what's truly yours to hold. Fourth, what drains you is someone else's genius. And I love this part. Things that we're naturally good at, someone else might not be, but things that we hate, that drain us, someone else loves. So you don't have to force yourself into roles that exhaust you because someone else would thrive there. And lastly, your natural wiring, like how your own operating system works, is the key to your joy. The way you're wired, your drives, your preferences, your natural rhythm is your roadmap, and it holds the key to how you create, contribute, and lead at your best. So these truths are at the core of what we are exploring today. 90,000. It's such a big number. Why do I have it here? Does anyone have a guess what this number represents? Go ahead and put it in the chat if you have a guess. Money. That would be nice. 90,000 in money would be fabulous. I'll take it. Well, I'll tell you, on average, we spend 90,000 hours of work, of our lives at work. So that's more time than we spend with our families, more time than we sleep. It's a massive chunk of our life. And that's not just time, it's your energy, it's your creativity, it's your attention, and it's your livelihood. And too many people spend those hours stuck in the hustle, taking on too much, doing work that's misaligned, draining, or simply not meant for them. Many of us or others we know might be operating from a place of survival, burnt out, drained, cooked, or working as a means to an end and just getting through the day, but never feeling fulfilled or inspired. I want you to operate from a place of thriving and work with others who are too, feeling energized, pumped up, and in the zone. There's a magical mix of ingredients to thrive for you, for anyone who works for you. One, being in a role where you get to use your natural strengths and unique talents. It's what we're here to talk about. Two, being in an environment, a company culture with people that lift you up and help you be at your best. And three, a connection between your personal mission, your purpose and values, and the company's mission and values. So, what does it look like when you and your team are exceptional? Is that you deliver. You go above and beyond with discretionary effort. You have a positive attitude and an energy field that others feel and want to be a part of, igniting collaboration and teamwork and inspiring others to be at their best. So, what if the key to thriving in the work you do isn't about doing more, but it's about doing what you do best? Thriving isn't about checking more boxes. And I get it. I work with so many interior design clients, and that list can just seem exhaustive. Like, when does it ever end? And do you have enough people to help you? But this is about clarity. It's about knowing the kind of work that brings you alive, the kind that feels natural and valuable, and then building the right structure and support around that. And in the long run, that's what creates sustainable success and joy in your business. If you are in the position of scaling your business, it doesn't have to mean piling more onto your plate. It can mean being radically clear about your unique strengths and letting it go of what doesn't belong to you. And that may sound simple, by the way, but saying no to things and giving it to other people, it's not always that easy. That's where this inner work comes to play. But when you focus on work you're truly built for and surround yourself with the right people and tools to support the rest, that's when you create momentum. That's when your work gets lighter and your impact gets bigger and you start to thrive instead of just managing. So this isn't just a feel-good idea. There's real data behind it. And I want to share this with you because I want to really hit home why this matters, that this isn't just a transactional exercise. It has deep value. When you align your work with your natural strengths, everything shifts. Productivity goes up, stress goes down, and your impact expands. Whether you're a solo designer, you're part of a team, or leading one, knowing your genius and using it on purpose changes how you show up every day. So I want to show you some research that shows just how powerful this is. So the numbers speak for themselves. When you're working in alignment with your strengths, you tap into what's called a flow state. That's where time flies, distractions fade, and you're operating at your peak. People in flow are up to 5 times more productive. And it's not just about output. Using your strengths daily also boosts engagement and job satisfaction. On a team level, when everyone's role is aligned with their behavioral strengths, collaboration improves, performance climbs, and turnover drops. So whether you're hiring or delegating or just trying to do more of the work you love, understanding and honoring how you and others are built is one of the most impactful ways to thrive in your business. So it's powerful to see how much stronger and more productive we become when we work in alignment with our strengths. But let's zoom out for a moment because this isn't just about hitting goals or building better teams. This is about the kind of life you're creating through your work. So let's take a look at this connection between strengths and happiness and what it says in the research. When you're using your strengths consistently, the things that come naturally to you, the work that feels like an extension of who you naturally are in your true essence, you feel more alive, more authentic, more confident, and more connected to yourself. And the research backs this up. People who operate in their strengths feel more fulfilled. They have higher energy and are significantly less likely to burn out. Okay. Burnout is a real thing. I mean, many of you are probably feeling that right now. In fact, those who do what they do best every day are 3 times more likely to say they have an excellent quality of life. And I think that's what this is all about, what we really, really want. It's a business that supports your life, not one that drains it. So this is about designing a career path and a rhythm that not only sustains you, but truly makes you happy. Okay, here's another fill in the blank. I would love for you to, again, I'm not expecting anyone to necessarily get this right unless you're going to put in ChatGPT and get answers. But what do you think these numbers are? What would you guess? Let's get a couple guesses and then I'll share. 80-20, not bad, pretty close, 75-25. Okay, you're on the right track actually. Based on on research by an organizational psychologist, Dr. Tasha Eurich, who studied 5,000 people on the topic of self-awareness, she found that 95% of people thought they were self-aware. 95%. But only 10 to 15% really were. Does that just, I mean, it blows your mind. I mean, think about how many of us are walking around all the time thinking, 95% of us are thinking we're totally self-aware, but only 10 to 15% actually are. So that's crazy. Almost everyone believes they know themselves, their strengths and their patterns and how they show up at work. But in reality, we're missing pieces of the puzzle. And this gap doesn't just affect our personal growth, it shapes how we lead, how we collaborate, and what kind of work we build our businesses around, and shocker, how we impact people. So that's exactly why frameworks we're diving into are so powerful. They help us close the gap between who we think we are and where we actually thrive. So let's get into this. let's talk about a framework that helps us become more self-aware and clear. This is a zone of genius model developed by Gay Hendricks. He's a remarkable person, by the way, and still active in sharing quite a bit, and quite spiritual too, I will share. Your zone of genius is where your innate and unique strengths intersect with your passion and skills. And everyone's zone of genius is different and completely unique to them as an individual. So the goal is to know yours and build a team with the complementary zones, right? And this model is going to give us a powerful way to look at the kind of work we're doing and how it either supports or sabotages our energy. So as I go through these zones, you're going to start thinking of things that come up for you that might relate to each zone. And one of the things I invite you to do is in the days after these sessions is you're going to start noticing it. I was doing that yesterday as I was doing a variety of different things. I'm like, oh, that lives in this zone and this is in this zone. And why am I doing this? It's in this zone. Okay, so here we go. First, there's the zone of incompetence. So this is the stuff that doesn't come naturally. It drains you, and someone else could do it better. So a real life example for me that just actually happened in these last, like within the last 5 days, is troubleshooting computer problems. Um, I hate it. I don't have the patience for it. I don't have the technical brain for it. And fortunately, I was able to go to the Apple store and use their Genius Bar, which is interesting, that's what it's called, and get help from them. So start thinking about the things. It's like, where are you spending your time where really that's not what you're so good at? And people could definitely do that better. The second zone is the zone of competence. These are things you can do, but they actually don't energize you and they don't really leverage your strengths. So you're fine at these tasks, but there's going to be other people who are just as good and probably better. So it's actually not your unique value. So an example for me, the different tasks I spend my time on, having my own business is updating my website, doing my own social media, tracking invoices, managing my books. I mean, I'm okay at all these things, but I definitely know others can be better, especially with the website and the social media. So think about that for you. Like, okay, where am I spending my time where I'm fine at it? But you know what? It's not really energizing me. Next is your zone of excellence. This can be a trap, this one. This is going to be a fascinating one to think about because it gets a little tricky. Because in the zone of excellence, you're really skilled. You're highly, highly skilled. And there's a good chance you've been praised for it over the years, recognized and rewarded, maybe even promoted if that was a situation for you. Um, but at the end of the day, it doesn't light you up. And it can actually trap you in work that looks successful on the outside, but it drains you. It slowly burns you out. There are probably people you might know or stories you've heard, people that are in careers for like years and years and years and years until they have an epiphany like that that wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. I just heard one the other day of an attorney who highly specialized, knowledgeable, successful, and then realized later like this completely is draining me, you know. So for me, there was a time in my career that I kept getting promoted for roles and responsibilities related to managing operations and developing processes because I'm actually really, really good at it. But the more the job was becoming just that, and I was losing some of the things that are really in my zone of genius, I was actually kind of feeling sad and I was feeling like disconnected. So that was a big wake up call for me. Now, finally, there's the zone of genius. This is the sweet spot. It's your unique ability. It's fueled with your passion and ease. You lose track of time when you're doing it. It's your native brilliance. It's what you were designed to do. It's the work that feels like an extension of who you are. You're naturally great at it and it energizes you. And it's where you bring your highest value with the least resistance. This is where you make your biggest impact. And when you spend most of your time here, you experience deep satisfaction. Yeah, deep satisfaction and make your biggest impact. So for me, I love connecting with people and just truly seeing them. This real intuitive sense of just seeing you and trying to understand what makes you tick and what works for you and what doesn't, and helping people identify their purpose and their goals and guide them to fulfill them. I have friends who actually refer to me as a people whisperer. So, with my natural intuition combined with expertise with tools and techniques I've learned and mastered over the years, I'm clear on where my zone of genius is. And fortunately for me, I've been able to build my work around that. Okay, that was a lot. So hopefully it's kind of sinking in, right? Now I want to help you start identifying what it looks like for you. So you might want to take a screenshot of this image. I think it's also available in the resources tab in Zoom, because on the next slide, I'm going to guide you through some questions to help tap into this for you. Okay. In the resources section too, I believe there is a fillable worksheet you can use called the Zone of Genius Reflection Worksheet. You can use that, or feel free to write this wherever. But we're going to do a self-reflection exercise, and I'm going to give you a few minutes for some quiet time to think. Because I was living in my zone of incompetence, I was unsuccessful trying to figure out how to get music to play while you're doing your quiet reflection work. Helen and I were laughing about that earlier. So we'll just have some silence, but let me get this teed up for you. We're only going to have a few minutes. And as I said earlier, this is deep soul searching work, right? So for now, I don't want you to overthink this. I want you to trust your gut. Okay. So I want you to take time and answer these questions. And then after you've had time to answer these questions, go zoom out for a moment, take a look at what you wrote and identify, like, is there a theme? Is there a common thread? So, and then try to describe your zone of genius in one sentence or phrase. So this is a lot in just a few minutes. But, for example, translate big ideas into visual clarity or bring calm to chaos through structure. A couple from clients I work with, one is high capacity to know and remember every single detail of a project. And another one is, I love selling and that feeling of getting a new client. It's in my blood. Okay. So take a few minutes. I'm going to set a timer and then I'll check in. Okay. Okay, that's 3 minutes. How's it going for everyone? If anyone's feeling brave and wants to share anything that's starting to come up for you in the chat, would love, 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 love to see that. While we're doing that, question 4 is the hardest. Oh, good. Interesting. Yeah. Great. Yeah. We'll give another minute too for some others if you're still processing some of this. Yeah. Number 3A. Yeah. If you're Nina, if you're brave, you can share whatever you'd like, including just maybe what your big takeaway is at the moment, what you're noticing. It might be
Hello.
a hi.
Hi. I was just going to say if anyone did want to also say anything, I can actually, if it's easier to talk it through out loud, I
Oh,
can unmute somebody if we have somebody who raised their hand, but I don't know if it's because they're agreeing or not, but yeah.
excellent. That's great to know. Yeah, this is good. So I think it's starting to percolate for everyone. That's great. Does anyone want to say anything to Helena's point?
If your hand is up, if you want to lower it, I will give you a second. Again, it could be just excitement. So, all right, Todd, I'm going to put you on the spot there because your hand is up.
I didn't realize that my hand was up, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's okay. What I've realized is I love the high level of developing the design concept with like project team and then presenting it to the clients, and that like time could just fly by. What I don't like is all the little trivial details of scheduling all the installs and dealing with, the back and forth. I don't like minutia and anything.
Yeah. Yeah. That's that's see, I have so many questions I want to ask you as a follow-up, but that's a whole other activity. Todd, thanks for sharing.
And then I also have Renee who did put her hand up, and those were the only two. So I think it's a nice little
Okay.
selection if we've got the
Hmm.
time still. Yeah. Hi,
So,
Renee.
hi there. I would say my zone of genius is space planning. I love space planning. I could do it all day. And the things, and also sourcing, like the design development stage. But the other things, like, I'm great at rendering. However, I could pass that off. And of course, other tasks. But
Yeah.
Awesome.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. We're going to transition into another way to look at this as well. Um, as everyone's sharing some examples here, which are so fabulous. Thank you. I'm remembering I was doing an interview for a client the other day, and this person that I was interviewing just lit up when she started talking about how much she loves filing, organizing files. I cannot relate to that, but she loves it. So it was just amazing to me. Like, just this is it. This is that complementary genius, when you come across people. Um, oh, Jess, I hate CAD. Okay. Okay. So let's shift. Okay. So we're going to build on this a little bit. So, by now it's starting to come clear. You're tapping into what's energizing you most, what feels natural, fulfilling, and impactful, and also the things that don't, right? So, it's starting to speak to you. But here's the next layer. Like, what if you could add additional behavioral insights and back more of this up with some data? What if you had clear research-backed lens that shows how you're wired to work? That's where behavioral science comes in, and specifically a tool called predictive index. And it helps us go beyond intuition and put language around how we naturally operate. PI is based on 4 core drives that influence how we show up at work. And understanding your drives and your natural behaviors is another way of having some power in understanding your zone of genius and also helping others do the same. So, of course, we're all unique and awesome. We really are. And yet we're just different. So, we're going to go into some new content here. So in the resource part of Zoom, again, you'll find a worksheet related to predictive index. Okay, so we're going to do some more processing. For context, if you haven't heard of predictive index before, and maybe some of you have, it's a science-based behavioral assessment that was developed specifically for the workplace way back in 1955. So it's been helping individuals, leaders, and teams for nearly 70 years. It's grounded in proven behavioral science techniques, and it's been independently validated for accuracy and reliability. So today it's used by over 8,000 companies in more than 100 countries, and it's available in over 68 languages. So it's accessible and inclusive. I've been using this since 2001, so that's almost 25 years. And it's such a valuable tool that I use with my clients and their teams whenever we get the chance. So working without PI for me when it comes to people and people data is like for you, like trying to design rooms or build a house without a blueprint, an architectural plan, or floor plans. So here's a look at the heart of the model, these 4 drives. And everyone has their own unique pattern across these different factors, and there's no right or wrong, just different ways of showing up. Okay, so there's no like right PI. Okay, so as I go through each of these drives in a little more detail, I want you to simply notice which one sounds like you, which might describe how you naturally show up, even on your best days or worst days. Okay, so here's an overview of these drives. So dominance. Dominance is about how much you want to exert influence on people or events. Maybe a little control there, okay? So people with high dominance tend to be independent, competitive, and like to lead. Lower dominance often means you're more cooperative, accommodating, harmony focused, and typically value being in something that's more structured. Extroversion. This drive is about actively building relationships and social interaction. So if you're high on extroversion, it means you're outgoing, social, and get energy from being with people. While lower extroversion often signals someone who's more introspective, analytical, thoughtful, reserved, and prefers quieter settings. Patience. This one's about pace and consistency. So people with high patience thrive on stability and work at a methodical pace. Lower patience, you're likely fast-paced, want to multitask and do a variety of things, and can be a little bit more adaptable. Lastly, formality. This speaks to how you approach rules and structure. So people high in formality prefer clear processes and precision and doing things the right way. Lower formality usually means more flexibility, comfort with ambiguity, and a preference for a bit more, being casual, a little bit more informal, and definitely freedom from any rigid rules or structure. Okay, so next we're going to take a look at each of these factors. And we're going to do a little bit of a speed round with the 4 factors. And I want you for each of the factors identify for you what resonates. Does the high amount side resonate with you, or does the low amount side resonate with you? And you know what? If both kind of do, that might mean that you're in the middle and you can situationally relate to either way. That is a thing. Okay, so let's dive in a little bit. High A, low A, dominance. So high A's, they like to be the one driving the car. So while the low A is happy being in the passenger seat, both are going to the same place, but in different seats. So high A's are comfortable asserting an opinion or point of view and prefer to drive the conversation. And they're looking to make a thumbprint. They want to make an impact. Low A's are cooperative and accommodating and very supportive. Okay. So for me, I'm a high A and I naturally take initiative. I'm comfortable at times. I need to be assertive. I really enjoy my autonomy and new challenges and opportunities. Okay. So yeah, write down. I see someone already did, but write down like, what do you relate to? Low A or high A? We can get kind of a sense in the room. Like how many of you are high, low? Yeah, high, high, high. Yeah, a lot of highs so far. Okay. Medium, so maybe in the middle, kind of relate to both. Okay. Oh, Amanda has like 18 A's in there. Okay. Excellent. So this is speaking to you. So make note of that. So let's move on to the B factor. Uh, High Bs are socially focused, while low Bs are more task focused. I like to call it, are you heads up, high B, heads down, task, low B, okay? High Bs like to bounce ideas off of each other, like get ideas literally from talking it out and get that energy from the interactions. Low Bs prefer private time to think and prepare and need space for that. Like if I'm ever having a meeting with a low B, give them an agenda in advance. You know, they need to be ready and prepared. But they definitely get drained from too much social interaction. Okay. So sometimes extroversion and introversion can be a little misunderstood. And I know some people might think introverts don't do people. Not true. But I do have a tiebreaker question for you because sometimes I come across this. My birthday's coming up. Okay. If I ask you to come to my birthday party and there will be 50 people there, you do not know, you've never met them, how do you respond? Are you like, yeah, I'm in, I'm going, I don't care, I want to meet people? Or you're like, oh, I don't know, there's no one there I know. I'm not going to do that. So there's a there's a good tiebreaker question for sure. Okay, so how are we doing? Do you relate to low B or high B? Can I bring a friend? That's right. It's going to be tiki theme. We're having a party. Aloha tiki theme. Yeah, Elaine, we call it the norm line. It's like kind of average in there, and it can happen. Yeah, it can happen. Means you're, just very moderate in these behaviors. There's a spectrum of the behaviors. Are you moderate? Are you very? Or are you extreme on some of these behaviors? Because how it shows up does matter. I mean, how wide that factor falls on each across the spectrum does matter, and how emphatic your behavior is. Are you Elvis is in the building? Or are you like, no, you're just more moderate, right? Okay, so let's move on to C. Still have some other things to get to. I don't want to run out of time. Patience. High Cs are high on patience. They're calm and work at a steady pace. So they excel at like these routine, methodical tasks and process, being very process oriented. They can have a stressful response when there's pressure, change, or like deadlines, while low Cs work at a fast pace with a sense of urgency and are impatient for results. And they thrive when there's more variety in their work, and they can have more of a proactive response to pressure. Um, they also do best when they can physically move. Like it's a physiological thing. If you're a low C, like you literally need to kind of have the ability to be a little mobile. While high Cs can, be a little bit more comfortable sitting in one fixed location for a period of time. I'm a low C. I work at a fast pace. I have a proactive response when there's chaos, jumps me into action. But the days where I'm sitting on my computer like all day long are harder for me. My husband is a high C. And he is incredible at doing work that takes patience and this methodical approach. He works in IT, works with computers. He's also a guru with cars and, tinkering and being a mechanic. And he's the guy that reads the manual or looks up everything on YouTube on how to do something and then does it. So yeah, everyone's seeming to relate to whether you're feeling high C, low C. Excellent. Okay, let's keep moving on. The D factor, formality. High Ds are driven to conform to rules and structure. They produce highly accurate and precise work and are attentive to details. They are also risk averse or risk cautious and prefer a book to go by, some SOPs, a handbook, right? And they're absolutely driven to avoid making mistakes. Low Ds are more informal and flexible. So they're more comfortable winging it, like last minute presentation, fine, put me in, I'll figure it out, right? More tolerant of uncertainty. Rules, by the way, are just guidelines or maybe even suggestions. So this doesn't mean that low Ds can't do details. They can for the areas they deem important, but doing detailed work for the majority of the time in a given day would be really, really challenging and draining. So, I have a client who has an employee with this like extremely high D, like way to the right. She's a designer that also works with very detailed specifications. This employee demonstrates like off the charts natural levels of detailed precision, like these exacting high standards, which she expects of herself and others, and thrives when there's this clear structure and expectation. Okay. Okay, yes. So thank you. You're putting it in the chat. I don't even need to see it. Look at that. Combination low, high. So such a mix. You're just seeing even from the chat how many like just differences we have. So putting this together, this is an example of a profile of one of my clients, and she's what's called a captain. There's 17 different reference profiles. So captains are known for being natural leaders who are fast-paced, independent, and driven for results. She naturally takes charge, moves quickly, and pushes ideas into action. She's highly driven by challenge and opportunity and a strong bias for forward momentum. So she's at her best and in her zone of genius when she can contribute innovative ideas and drive creative momentum. She wants to leverage her superpowers to focus on bringing in business, like she wants to be the rainmaker, focusing on big picture goals and strategies to keep the momentum, and leading the creative and innovative out of the box designs, not getting into the details. So it's not in her zone of genius, and it drains her, this type of work, like routine work, slowing down to work on process, all the fine details, involved in managing the project. So for her, it's valuable having others take on tasks such as administrative work, detailed project management, bookkeeping, and systems and processes. Okay. So I think you've all been able to see how this is starting to come up for you and where it's resonating. So for the sake of time, I'm going to move on to like, okay, what does this mean for the team? Okay. We're going to shift, right? Whew, mental shift. We've been working on you, how you're wired, what makes you tick. When I do work with my clients in this area, we also talk about your own vision, your own goals. We get into some deep things so you can connect all these dots about the vision you want to create for yourself, your own personal future. So this was self-awareness phase. Now we're moving to team. So there are 5 key steps to building your dream team. One is knowing your genius and behavioral style. So we've been doing that. That's where we've been spending our time so far. 2 is clarifying your business goals. You have to know where you're going. And it's so important to design team structure based on where your business is going, not where it is right now and not where it's been. So for example, you might have goals like you want to expand from boutique residential to boutique commercial projects, or increase capacity to take on more projects, or launch a customer furniture line. So this is a stage where you want to ask yourself, what are your 3 most important growth goals over the next year? And how will your team need to evolve to support that? Steps 3, 4, and 5, I'll summarize them now. We're going to get into a little bit more detail here, but is identifying the work. So you want to identify all the responsibilities required to reach your business goals and organize them by functions that make sense for your business. And 4 is where you map that work to your zone of genius and reviewing the responsibilities and tasks and identify what to keep that fits in your zone. And then 5 is looking at your team, assessing their strengths and identifying how to put each person in the right seat, right? And if there's a gap, how to close that. So, okay, in steps 1 and 2, you identified your zone of genius and natural behavioral strengths and got clear on your business goals for the next 12 to 18 months. Clearly, you're going to have homework to do, right? Step 3, when you're identifying the work, that's where you're looking at the plate of work that is involved and necessary to meet your goals. So you're going to create a list of all the responsibilities required in your business, get them organized by function, and list at least 3 to 5 tasks under each one. Now, when I do this work with my clients, it ends up being a lot more detailed than 3 to 5, but just as a starting point, you can go there. So in this scenario, the business has a current team that includes the principal, an interior designer, a project manager, and office coordinator. So you can see business goals that connect to the list of responsibilities. And in red are additional notes that tie to the goals where there is a need like to add capacity. So to reach the goals, in this case, the principal is already identifying that there will be a need to have more support with project management to take on more projects, okay? I know we're gonna zoom here to stay, leave time for questions. Step 4 is mapping this work to your zone. So you can take that list and just put a star next to the areas that fall in your zone and you want to protect that. Or you can highlight it, I mean, whatever method works for you to claim it. So in this example, the principal marked her zones as like leading creative direction, presenting to clients, and building strategic partnerships. Okay. So then it was starting to take shape of like, okay, for me to be able to do that, and with the work that I have, the roles I think I'm going to need to add are like a project coordinator to assist her project manager in handling schedules and orders and installs and take on some of the sourcing that she needs help with. Part-time marketing assistant to help with managing the social, coordinating photography, website, assisting with press outreach, and then also a consultant. So this is where she was thinking, gosh, I think I'm going to need help in some of these areas that are not in my zone of genius. And also I just don't have the time. Okay. So at this point, you have clarity on the plate of work that needs to be done, where your zone of genius lies, and where you need support to remain in your zone. So this is the next step, is examining and designing the right team. So first you want to begin with assessing your team. What are the strengths, challenges, and zones of genius for each person on your team? So you want to use your own observation working with them, but you know what? If you're not sure, you can ask. It's amazing what you can learn when you ask directly. Have a one-on-one with your employee or do this together as a team building exercise. And you can ask questions like you answered for yourself, like the self-reflection exercise around zone of genius. And here's another one you can ask. What talents do you have that you might not be using to their fullest potential? Or what special skills or passions do you have that we are not fully leveraging in your role and you would like to? This is an amazing exercise to do as a team or small group, because then you hear from other people and you're like, oh wow, she's an expert at Excel. Maybe I'll do that. Or wow, she knows graphic design. Hey, maybe we can use her over here. So it's a really great exercise. And then here's an example of what it could look like when it's filled out. What's helpful about this process is that you can zoom out and see the bigger picture of your team's overall strengths or gaps. The additional insight can help you build plans for like training and development to help them grow or determine if they're in the right roles to even begin with. So for example, look at the office coordinator, right? Fantastic strengths to leverage, but also challenges to make it difficult for that person to excel in a role that might require attention to detail, follow through, and computer proficiency, right? So we're getting to the final step. So after you've assessed your team, you can now ask yourself, based on the roles and responsibilities you need covered, who has the strengths you can leverage? Where can you delegate, reassign work, or even shift roles? And then where are their gaps? Could these be filled by shifting roles or hiring? And hiring these days, I mean, it could be a full-time hire, part-time hire, it could be a temporary employee, it could be freelance. I mean, the world of freelance work is just growing and growing, like gig work, or just flat out outsourcing. So in this example, more capacity is needed to manage the current and growing number of projects. And it's also not in the zone of genius for the principal to take on more. So there's a decision to add a new project coordinator to partner with the project manager. There's also a need in marketing. So for the next 12 to 18 months, thinking it's part-time, but over time it could grow into more. The office coordinator has wonderful strengths, but possibly in the wrong role when it comes to attention to detail. While there's not a business need now to play even more to her strengths, it's good to know what they are should a role around maybe selling or customer service become a need. So hopefully you can see how this is starting to come together like a strategic roadmap to leverage everyone on the team and identify steps to fill the gaps. So real quickly, this is an example leveraging PI with the client and their existing team. So when it's possible, I leverage this tool to further use data to help design teams. So we're able to identify business priorities and map where natural team and individual strengths align with those priorities. So there's a bit more to this. You can see where each team member plots on the map. The purple lines represent the strategies for the team, and you can start seeing where there's some natural fit or where there's some gaps. So it's this incredible tool that I use that does some similar work, but you can actually use some people data to insert into the planning. Okay. Okay, so we covered up. There's a lot of ground. Speed round. I hope you're walking out, getting like a deeper understanding of how your own strengths and the work that energizes you, a new lens to think about how to structure your role and team, and a clear next move, like how you plan to take some of these insights from today and move forward. What's a takeaway? 3 ideas for you is play with your zone of genius statement, look back at those reflection exercises, and see where you can keep paying attention to where you do your best work, but also where you don't and what you want to start giving up. And start taking a look at your team. Okay. It's we covered so much ground. I mean, honestly, this could be like a 4-hour day. And I want to totally thank you for showing up. And there's my contact information, I think, that will be available to you. My colleague Eileen wrote a book called The Job You Were Born For, 7 Steps to Align Your Work with Your Life Mission. If this is something that you or you have a family member or friend that's interested, I highly recommend her book. And then that is it. I think we have a little bit of time for questions, I think.
Yeah, I think that one question that was in the chat was if can people's PI change over time?
Um, in theory, who we are is who we are, right? So the very first PI, if you do the behavioral assessment, is always going to be the most accurate and reliable because you haven't been influenced so much by it. There are times where it can change, but it's usually temporary. So that would be things like going through a major life event like a divorce, a death, illness, things like that. But typically, we're pretty baked who we are.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Someone asked if you don't mind going to the contact info slide or the last slide with the book recommendation. I don't know if those were the same one. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Let's see.
And also, just so everyone knows, you can actually get all of her info on the speaker profile on the Zoom, like through the Zoom lobby as well. So you can connect with all of those there.
Yeah.
So
Am I sharing my screen?
you are, but not the slide yet. I think if you say play from current slide, it should pop up.
There we go.
Yeah, you got it. And then I think you have to hit continue to share because I think that's your computer making sure that's what you want to do. And then the second question was, is this a software specific website you use to make those, especially the circle where everyone is? So like what program did you use to do some of your slides? And
Yes, so that is in the predictive index software. I am, for full disclosure, I am a PI partner, so I'm authorized to to sell that platform to you. And it is a key tool that I've used over the years. It's a talent optimization platform, so it does a lot. I use it with clients for hiring because you can assess ideal job fit, as well as coaching, development, team building, and there's more.
Great. And I think this was kind of answered with some of the banter back and forth in the chat, but if you did want to talk anything about what the difference was between the A, B, C, D categories and DISC, which I think is a different type of assessment. But again, it kind of got answered in there, but if you did want to touch on that from your perspective,
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of assessments out there.
Yeah.
The DISC is one of them, Enneagram, Myers-Briggs. I mean, they all have some roots in some behavioral science. I find PI has a little bit more power to it than DISC. Also, my understanding is that DISC has never been independently validated from a scientific lens, and it tends to change more. But it's all good data.
Yes.
You also can't use
That
DISC in hiring.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that self-reflection, yeah. And planning, and like I really loved all of the like how you put it right into effect. You're like, this is how you can do it, like right now. This is what you could do, your next steps. Super great. Someone did ask if we would be able to share a copy of your slides, and I think you did say that. So I can upload that to your session. Okay, perfect. So I can make sure that is all done. And we are right on time. So I think that works out great. And I don't see any other questions popping up. And
I see one by Todd.
Yeah.
Todd, I'll give you a quick answer on why you can't use DISC in hiring. It just wouldn't be legally defensible. In PI, you create a job target based on what the needs are for the job, and then a candidate takes the PI and you compare it. The DISC doesn't offer that.
All right.
Yeah. So
Perfect.
thank you, everyone. I please reach out if there's anything else I can answer for you.